Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a lost chapter of history. It's a story of incredible science and philosophy that didn't just preserve the past, but actually built the foundations for our modern world. So, let's get right into it. When you think about the grand story of history, you probably remember ancient Greece and Rome, and then there's this huge jump, right? Straight to the Renaissance. But what happened in that thousand-year gap? We often call it the Dark Ages, but you have to ask, was it really dark for everyone, everywhere? So, let's try and fill in that gap. Let's go find that lost narrative. Now, the story we're often told is one of constant conflict, this idea of a clash of civilizations. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if the real story is one of connection, a world where knowledge was treated like a shared resource flowing freely between cultures? This period was anything but a dark age for humanity. It was actually a time lit up by a civilization that didn't just save ancient wisdom from places like Greece, Persia, and India. It built on top of that knowledge to create something completely new. So, where was the heart of this intellectual explosion? Well, to find it, we need to travel to the brand new capital of the Abbasid Caliphate, the legendary city of Baghdad. Just look at the sheer scale of this empire. It became this massive crossroads for goods, sure, but way more importantly, for ideas. The leaders of this new empire had this incredible thirst for knowledge, and they actively sought it out from every culture they touched, from the philosophy of Athens to the mathematics of India. And at the very center of this incredible quest was the House of Wisdom. Now, this wasn't just a library. It was like a magnet for the world's greatest minds. You had scholars from all faiths and all backgrounds coming together with one shared goal: to translate pretty much all of human knowledge into Arabic and then to master it. The philosopher Al-Kindi just perfectly summed up the spirit of the age with this quote. He was putting forward a pretty radical idea for the time, that wisdom doesn't have a nationality or a religion. Truth is just truth, no matter where you find it. But listen, the goal wasn't just to collect and translate a bunch of old books. No way. It was about using that knowledge as a launchpad for incredible innovation, especially in the universal language of science, mathematics. And what's wild is that this entire mathematical revolution, the one that would eventually power the European Renaissance and, our own digital age, it all hinged on the adoption of one elegant and really profound concept: zero. That's it. They adopted it from Hindu mathematicians in India. And this black dot, as one scholar called it, might have represented nothingness, but it unlocked everything. It was the missing piece that made placeholder notation possible and basically paved the way for all of higher mathematics. So, working at the House of Wisdom, a Persian scholar named Al-Khwarizmi took this new number system and created a systematic way to solve for unknown variables. He called this method al-Jabr, which means something like restoring broken parts to balance an equation. And here's where it gets absolutely amazing. His legacy is literally embedded in the words we use every day. When you learn algebra in school, you're speaking his language. When a computer runs an algorithm, it's using his name. That is a direct, unbroken line from 9th century Baghdad right to the phone in your pocket. It's incredible. And this new math, it wasn't just theory. It was used to solve real-world problems. Take the astrolabe. It was basically a sophisticated ancient computer. People used it for everything, from navigating the oceans to finding the direction for prayer. This was cutting-edge technology, all powered by algebra. Okay, so you've got this explosion of knowledge in Baghdad. But how did algebra, astronomy, and all those preserved works of Aristotle make their way back into Europe to help spark the Renaissance?
Well, the answer lies not in the Middle East, but right there on the European continent itself, in a place where Muslim, Jewish, and Christian cultures were all living together and collaborating: Al-Andalus, or Muslim Spain.
And you can actually trace this path clearly over the centuries. The intellectual center kicks off in Baghdad, then a new hub of learning just explodes in Córdoba, Spain, and then you have European scholars hungry for this new knowledge, traveling there to translate everything they can get their hands on from Arabic into Latin. This became the transmission belt, carrying all these supposedly lost ideas back into the European mainstream. And what a center it was! Try to imagine a city with streetlights, 50 hospitals, and public libraries in the 10th century. At the same time, a city like London was still mostly a village of muddy lanes. That's the scale of the knowledge gap we're talking about. Córdoba was, without a doubt, the most advanced city on the continent.
So what does all of this mean? Why does uncovering this lost history actually matter for us today?
Well, it completely changes how we see the story of human progress. It wasn't some linear relay race where Greece passed the baton to Rome, which then dropped it for 1,000 years before Italy picked it up. It was a global team effort with absolutely essential contributions from countless cultures.
By leaving these contributions out, we're not just getting a few facts wrong. We're reading an incomplete version of our own story. We're missing key chapters of the human journey.
And that leaves us with a really important final question to think about. Recognizing this golden age doesn't diminish the achievements of the Renaissance of the Enlightenment. Not at all. Instead, it enriches our understanding of them. It shows that we are all, in one way or another, the heirs of Baghdad and Cordoba. And it really makes you wonder, what other incredible stories are still out there, just waiting to be found?